House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. The Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Mr Speaker, I think some people will probably be puzzled when listening to Parliament debating this morning. That's probably not an unusual situation, actually, that people would be puzzled listening to our debate, but it is not common that we have a bill going through all stages under urgency where there is complete agreement of every single member of Parliament. So just to explain that a little more to people, this bill that we're debating, the Unit Titles Amendment Bill, originally came into Parliament as part of the Statutes Amendment Bill, which is a vehicle for making technical changes to bills that don't change the policy, but where there's clearly an error in the original drafting or lack of clarity for the intent. And every member of Parliament has to agree to the provisions of a Statutes Amendment Bill. When our Select Committee, Government Administration Committee, was given this bill to consider, we looked at the provisions in Part 27, which covered the Unit Titles Amendment, and said there are too many. None of them on their own constituted a breach of the Statutes Amendment regime, and that none of them changed policy. They were just clarification of the original intent, but there were so many of them that we considered this bill should come out of the Statutes Amendment Bill and be considered as a standalone bill. We agreed that we would support its speedy progress because we understood the desire for better clarity in the unit titles legislation. So we said that we'd support it going through the House, in a reasonable fashion. We did that, Mr Speaker, in May of this year. Nothing was further from our imagination than thinking our commitment to having this bill progressed would then mean that it would be put through all stages under urgency. It's just incompetent House time management that this is where this bill has ended up. And I just want to put on record the fact that it's very expensive for taxpayers to have Parliament sitting under urgency. In my view, the term urgency should have some relationship with the urgent need of the matter that's before the Parliament, and this clearly has no such need. The other point I want to make, Mr Speaker, is that we have now been waiting, New Zealanders have now been waiting for 5 years for the government to take some substantive action in terms of the housing issues that we face. In Canterbury, as a result of the considerable population movement because of the earthquakes and the damage and the influx of a large number of people from outside Canterbury, indeed from outside New Zealand, to help with the rebuild, we have a housing crisis. People are literally not able to afford rental property in their own communities, and that's caused a lot of anxiety. But the government hasn't done a single thing towards addressing what I'm sure the whole of Parliament would love to hear about. What will the government do to progress the serious and genuine housing needs that we have in our country? So we have silence from the government on the substantive needs of New Zealanders, and here a bill that is totally agreed by every single member being put through under urgency. It smacks of incompetence, it smacks of arrogance, and it smacks of a total dislocation of this government from the real needs of New Zealanders.
The Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Speaker, I rise also to support the unit